But people don't realize, man, that's sketch when you got the boys knocking at your door.
It's not. It wasn't fun.
I had them knocking at my door one time. I had some legal paperwork filed on me. WWE boss Vince McMahon raided by federal agents and ordered to appear in court before announcing an indefinite sick leave. Now, what is going on? FBI is just raiding everybody. Like, what's this about?
Well, I mean,
sexual
they're trying to put it to that Vince McMahon is, good friends with Donald Trump. So
I mean, it's so apparently it's a part of. Remember, the WWE was a publicly traded company
just up until recently.
I think the issue is that he may have been using or misappropriating funds to pay off sexual misconduct suits and things like that. And so that is an issue for, that's that people are affected by that financially.
So the SEC would come that.
Yeah.
The wrestling executive chairman is on indefinite sick leave presently after having spinal surgery. Did you know he's like almost 80? He's 77.
Really? Mm-hmm.
Wow. And the operation comes just weeks after the 77-year-old was slapped with a federal grand jury subpoena.
Yeah, it's the SEC that's coming after him. So it's what I wasn't fully familiar with the story, but that's what I figured it was.
When the feds, what does a federal grand jury subpoena feel like, Brian? Is that you inside of a federal courtroom with?
Well, I've had one served on me. So
no, federally or state?
Federal.
You've had a federal grand jury?
Yeah.
All right.
We talked about this.
So tell me how it goes. I mean, are you allowed to talk about it now that the event is over?
Yeah. So
how does it go?
Depends on who you are and whether or not they are aware what you're accused of and who you are. So the level of the number of agents, how armed they are, things like that. And they must know about guns because and whether or not you have them, because one of the attorneys at the firm that I used to work for had literally full flak jacket, guns out agents come to raid his house. And for me, they had 3 dudes in suits knock on my door and to serve the warrant. So
and it's probably because based on how many. Maybe if you're a gun permit holder, or you've registered, some some semi-automatic stuff or stuff like that.
Yep. And I imagine McMahon has firearms, so they probably had, All
right, so that's how the search warrant goes,
right?
And did they search your house?
Well, so it depends on what they're looking for. If it depends on what the search warrant says.
When yours went down,
right,
and the feds are at your door,
they wanted my cell phone.
And you open the door up, and they usually do it all
6 a.m.
Hold on, but it's synchronized, and they do all 3. Was there 3 houses at the time?
It was 5 of us.
5, and they synchronize.
Or 4. I'm sorry, 4.
And they synchronize their, or use their iPhones, and say you need to be knocking on that door right at 6 a.m. 00000, so that you guys cannot communicate with each other.
Yep.
So. When they knocked on your door, they were scaling the fence at Rob Adams, and they were going after Steve all at the same time, right?
Yep.
And so at 6 a.m., and you know what? It wasn't your neighbor across the street trying to borrow a cup of sugar knock. There's 2 different kind of knocks.
We had kind of caught wind that something was happening, and so when my door got knocked on, I turned to my wife and I said, "The feds are here. Stay in the room with the dog. I don't want the dog getting shot." And she goes, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, trust me. Because we lived in an apartment at the time at Millennium over here by West Shore.
Right.
And nobody knocks on your door. I mean, especially at 6 a.m. So I knew immediately what it was.
All right. So this is before your parents lived with you and everything.
Yeah.
And so, and is it that aggressive federal knock? It
wasn't light. It was.
Right.
It's just like that. That is like it. I mean,
yeah.
I could probably the knock it was.
It might even be a tad harder.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it to the death here.
Right.
Yeah.
So, did you let them? They knock in rounds. Was it just one round of knocking and you were there?
One round. I was putting on, because I sleep in just boxer shorts, so I was putting on like regular gym shorts and a shirt in case they were perp walking me. I didn't know what was going to happen there.
Right.
So
You don't know if Reggie Roundtree was outside.
yeah, I didn't know the circumstances when I was getting dressed there. So I said, 1 minute,
Brian,
please.
Reggie Roundtree, what do you think about being in your shorts right now?
Talk to my lawyer.
All right, so they knock on the door. You put on, a T-shirt and gym shorts.
Yeah.
Okay. And you open the door. Now, are you expecting, to be staring down barrels? Do you look through the peephole?
Yeah, I looked through the peephole and I saw it was just 3, agents in suits. So I was like, okay, well, this isn't like they're not going to kick my door down. It's like, but I still may get arrested. So we'll see what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen.
It's tough. You know what? A lot of you people listening to this show right now have never faced anything like this. So I have, and Brian has, and it's a little sketch, man. I mean, you got to, you almost kind of start hyperventilating. Like your body, even if you think you're Johnny Cool guy, Brian, you still get a little anxiety.
The butthole puckers.
Yeah. So you open the door.
Yeah.
And who speaks first?
There's one main agent. The other 2 are just flanking him. And he says, we have a search warrant. We're here to get your phone. And so I said, okay, can I please see the search warrant? So they hand me the search warrant. And that's when I said to them, I was like,
now, are you reading through it?
Yeah, I'm reading
Now,
it.
are they allowed to breach? I mean, are they allowed
they can come in at that point, yeah. They can come in whether I want them in or not. They have a search warrant.
All right, so
they knock to be nice. They don't there are no knock warrants that they can do in certain instances. It's not really a safe thing for them to do, as we've seen time and time again.
Right.
But no, they generally, for things like this, when we're talking white collar crimes, they're knocking.
So now, while you're reading, they're still all 3 standing there, correct?
Yeah, they kind of come into they're right at the threshold of the door there. I actually bring them in, and I'm reading it on my kitchen countertop there, and they're standing on the other side of the bar, the kitchen bar.
Right.
And then I realize that there's a typo in the warrant.
Oh, and doesn't this really piss them off?
It does.
I mean, so wait till you guys hear what he did. So you read, and what's the typo?
They wanted the phone that I was in possession of on January 19th, 2012. Okay, and this is in 2013. Oh, no, this is months later. So this is still in 2012. But they mistyped on the warrant that they wanted the phone that I had January 19th, 2021. And so I said to him, well, you guys are going to have to come back in 9 years. I don't have this phone yet. And he goes, what are you talking about?
This is FBI agent, and they got schmarmy-ass Brian and getting him on a tech.
I said, read your warrant here. It says that it's not correct. You're identifying a phone that does not yet exist.
And so what?
He says, let me see that. So he rips it out of my hand. He goes, hold on a minute. And so he goes outside into the hall and calls the U.S. attorney. And he comes back in and he says, we want whatever phone you have right now. And I said, here's a problem for you guys. I said, whatever evidence you get off that phone is not going to be admissible. I said, so you probably want to go back and get a new warrant and come back when you have a proper warrant. And he goes, listen, we can do this one of 2 ways, the easy way or the hard way. The easy way is you give us your phone and we leave. The hard way is we tear your house apart looking for your phone until we find it, and we don't clean up after ourselves.
Oh, nice.
And I said, okay, I'll go the easy way, but here you go. And they took it.
Now, could you have had another phone or a GoPro, and could you have been taping all this?
I mean, I'm not a social media guy anyways, but I mean, now in knowing what I know now.
No, because you would have.
This is 2012 too. Phone cameras weren't that great.
I understand, but you would have videotaped yourself saying, I'm giving you my phone because I don't want my place torn apart. But that being said, I am objecting to your warrant because it's not correct, and I don't think you're going to be able to get any information off that phone. I'm going on record by saying that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
giving you this this phone under duress, and because your search warrant for this phone is invalid.
Yeah.
Would that have helped you?
I mean, I don't think. Look, and nothing ended up coming.
It was a big railroad anyway.
The problem for them was all of the warrants were bad, and they were serving them all at once, and so they couldn't have this happen. This would have been bad for them. It's embarrassing, quite honestly, that you're so sloppy you don't even proofread the warrant, and that the judge signed off on it. It's embarrassing for everybody involved in that. Do better.
So all of the warrants were misdated.
Yeah. Yeah, they just used one and cut and paste.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Could that have been an appellate issue?
Oh, absolutely.
So
your warrants have to be very specific. They have to be correct. They have to be accurate. Now, they can be general in the sense of.
But does that show you how much of a
computers-
railroad job this was, and the fact that you guys had a bona fide appellate issue, and they're like pack sand?
I mean, they had no choice. There are agents out there executing a warrant, and they're being told by the U.S. attorney who's directing them to take what they're there to get.
No, I'm not mad at the agents. I'm
No,
just
I
mad.
know.
I'm mad at the system and the fact that you guys never really got your due process in court and were able to address this appealable issue.
Yeah, it's all good though. I mean, all's well that ends well, sort of. I guess.
So, in my final question is, you give them the phone and they leave,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So,
Well, first I told him I needed to call
now what if he had like some
my boss because the office phones were at the time the after hours, like the office 800 number would forward to my cell phone.
Right.
So I was answering after hour personal injury calls. Right. So I told him, I said, look, I need to call my boss and let him know, and they actually said okay. So I tried calling Steven. It went straight to voicemail. I tried calling Rob. It went straight to voicemail. And I was like,
because the feds have already been there.
At that point, I know that, right? So that's why I did that, and just to see what was up, if I was the only one, if they got us all, what was happening, or if I could say, hey, you may be getting a visit. But anyways, then I called Jay, and because he wasn't involved, I was able to get him, and I just said, hey, the feds are here to take my phone. I'm just letting you know that the office calls that are being forwarded need to be forwarded to somewhere else. And he knew what was up at that point. So.
Right. So now let me ask you this. So now when you go in front of a federal, I wasn't necessarily talking about the warrant part. I was talking about when you go in front of the grand jury, which I know you had to.
I didn't actually.
Semi-auto glass, Travis. $100.
Semi-auto glass, Travis.
I didn't actually testify in front of the grand jury. They didn't like what I had to say, which was the truth. Because what they do is they reverse engineer cases. They don't start from we have this evidence, let's see where it takes us. They say, this is what we think the outcome is. Let's reverse engineer to get to where we can pin it on them. That's the way they work up a case. Okay? They don't say, let's follow the trail of breadcrumbs. No, this is what we know or think or want
They
to
usually
be.
make their own breadcrumbs.
And that's the thing. So I did what's called, I forget the exact word for it. They call it queen for a day immunity. And so that's when I met with the two federal agents and the U.S. attorney. And they had me meet with the federal agents because making false statements to a federal agent is a crime. Making false statements to a U.S. attorney is not a crime. So they tell you, you can do this, but you better be truthful because if they catch you in a lie, then that's where you're going to get charged.
That's how Martha Stewart went down.
Yep.
She didn't actually go down for insider trading. She went down for lying to a federal agent. Am I not right?
Exactly.
Right.
So I was interrogated for 4 hours by the two FBI agents with the U.S. attorney there. And, they would step out and the U.S. attorney would tell them what questions to ask and how to follow up. And they would step back in and do all of that.
No, and then you're not allowed to record it.
No,
you're not allowed to have.
It's in the U.S. It's in the federal building there, so they don't let you bring your stuff in. Your attorney should be taking notes, but the dolt that I got stuck with wasn't taking notes.
But you can.
Yeah, you can take notes.
Right. All right. So continue on.
So they meet with me for 4 hours. They don't like what I'm having to say. We're going back and forth because again, they're trying to reverse engineer, and what I'm telling them is not helping them. If they thought it was helping them, they would have thrown me right in front of the grand jury and given me immunity. Okay, but the truth wasn't helping them. So they then called me back again for another 4 hours, like the next week or a few days later.
Well, they're trying to redo their just.
Well, they're trying to catch me in a lie. They're trying to catch me making statements that aren't consistent. They say that nobody should do what I did, ever.
And you did it.
But I did it because I was going to be nothing but truthful.
Ironclad.
Ironclad.
You knew you were going to stick with the truth, and you weren't going to deviate from it, embellish it, put more to it, and you were going to be consistently truthful.
That's it.
You weren't going to get flim-flammy. You didn't have to. The truth truly was going to set you free.
And what I knew was not, I didn't have all of the information because I was actually, oddly enough, at the Hard Rock the night that everything went down. But what I knew and what they were asking me, I gave them the truth on what I knew. I told them what I wasn't, what I didn't know. And they never put me in front of the grand jury because my testimony would not have helped them. And that's kind of BS, right? Because that's why they say you can indict a ham sandwich, because the U.S. attorney gets free reign pretty much in terms of what evidence is presented before the grand jury.
When you go in front of a grand jury, aren't you in there by yourself with no attorney?
Yeah, I mean, your attorney really has no role in it because they're, at that point, you're just testifying like you're in court. So,
yeah, but I mean, I'm saying like you're by yourself, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you're not allowed.
I might as well have been with the dolt I had. I might as well have been by myself.
I know, but man, I've been in a lot of legal proceedings, and I always had my lawyer there. Whew, I'd be freaked out.
My lawyer could have been there. He just wouldn't be participating, really.
Okay.
He just would have been there to bill.
He would have just been there to bill.
Yeah.
But people don't realize, man, that's sketch when you got the boys knocking at your door.
It's not. It wasn't fun.
I had them knocking at my door one time at Sunday morning. I had some legal paperwork filed on me.
Oh, no.
3 Pinellas County sheriffs knocking on my door. I call Kevin up. Go, Kevin.
Dad, I'm so scared. Come help me.
Kevin, what? It's 9:15 in the morning. I know you're calling me. Uh-huh. And I'm looking out my bedroom window because my windows are all tinted because I'm a pimp and I live in a mansion. And there's 3 Pinellas County sheriffs knocking quite aggressively on my door right now. And he goes, "Oh, really?" And I go, "Do I need to answer the door?" And he goes, "No." Did you do anything last night? I mean, did you rob a bank last night? Did you rape a woman last night? I go, "No, I haven't done anything."
After I recall.
Good answer.
He
Not
said,
that I can recall.
He said, don't answer the door. He said, if it's really a bad thing, they'll knock the door down. And I go, well, hold on. So really, I'm like on my phone. I'm like, and I'm looking at my front door because my house, the bedroom wing kind of, you could see the front door kind of a little bit.
You're peeking out the window?
Yeah, so I'm peeking out the window, and I got some. I'm not going to mention if I have anybody there or not, but anyway, I might have a chick there.
Oh.
Yeah, and so, but maybe not.
Wildcat.
Badass.
Wildcat.
Yeah, and so, yeah, like, she's like, what's this all about? I'm like, oh, the guy.
Shut up, bitch. Go hide in the closet.
Go make me a sandwich.
Anna, you know you're
Can't
with
you see I'm stressed?
Anna, you know you're with a bad boy when he tells you when you're in bed naked and he tells you just to stay put because the cops are at his front door. You know you're with a bad boy.
Did you have hot sex right after?
No, it pretty much ruins everything.
His elevator button for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let me tell you, when the feds come to your door, your wife isn't ready to put out.
Yeah, your wife isn't ready to
Really?
to get into
Doesn't put her in the mood.
Not a turn.
Possibly being accomplice going to prison.
Not a turn on.
No.
Not a turn on.
No. They don't want to testify that they just had sex with you ever again. So anyway, so Kevin, they leave. And I go, okay, Kevin, what should I do? And he goes, well, see if they, just go out and see if they left a card or something. Well, they left a card on my front door on the handle. So if you opened up the door, the card would fall off. Meaning, like, they're probably sitting down the road a little bit. And they're going to come back maybe later and see because the only way they emulate that would be to go outside and put the card and then go around the other side, then go back into the house through the back. The only way you could get it, the only way you could get the card to set perfectly on the handle like that would be to have to go outside, which they might be looking for you.
Right.
But they weren't. So it was this captain. So this is Captain such and such. We need to talk to you immediately. We need to make contact. It was all cop talk. It was the guy's business card, and on the back, so this is Captain such and such. I need to make contact with you immediately. This is urgent. Please call my cell phone. So I called Kevin back, and I said, Kevin, here's what. He's like, okay, well, call him, but don't tell him, necessarily that you're at your house, and see what he wants. So I called him back.
On your cell phone?
And yeah, I call him back. Let me write this down. $100 on the PayPal,
Nice.
Lummy. $100 on the PayPal. PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. Been a slow day.
You call from your landline.
Hasn't been super slow. We got 250, got the 100, got 100, got 25.
Cash App, PayPal, Venmo at the Bubba Army last minute push. So he goes, are you at your house? And I go, no. And he goes, well, when can you get there? And I go, I don't know. And he says, well, I'm just telling you right now, if you don't talk to us, there's going to be a warrant for your arrest issued. And so, we know your vehicles. We know where you live. So then I go, okay, I'm here. He goes, okay. I go, so I was going to try to, get this chick out of there, have a little breakfast. I was going to try to say, why don't you guys come by at 12 or 1? This was 9:15. He goes, we'll be over in 2 minutes.
Oh, God.
So they got there and they gave me some paperwork and asked me if I had any guns. Do you have any guns? Do you have any guns? Of course I don't have any guns.
No.
Might not have been so truthful there.
Ooh, let's not admit that.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
Just kidding.
I got a BB gun.
Theater of the mind, Brian.
This is show business,
Well, the
Brian.
last thing I
Radio.
wanted is, them then traipsing through my house, finding all my BB guns. Right?
Yeah, making it dirty in there.
Let's just make this thing fast. The neighbors already know there's 3 squad cars at my house.
No, it's
Let's
just
not
Bubba
be out.
being Bubba.
Let's not haul out a bunch of guns, and so they have to see all that and stuff. So no, I don't got any guns. I got airsoft BB guns. Lots of them. So they left, and by Wednesday I had the issue covered by Wednesday.
Good.
By
For Breezy on the front porch, just waving
No.
at you with his big
But
boat.
hey,
song, yeah.
you want to scare Febreze? Start bringing law enforcement around.
He was on the boat, gone.
He was headed to Rochester, New York, is where he was.
Non-scripted and unregulated.
Sort of like the same sensation you get after sex.
The Bubba the Love Sponge Show returns after these words.